Good evening and welcome to NTD News. I'm Stephanie Cox. Here are today's top stories. A Christian center in Colorado Springs is vandalized. The message left behind seems to refer to the LGBT nightclub shooting. President Biden promises to push for a ban on semi-automatic firearms. A man working to foster a culture of gun safety in black communities says the president's approach does more harm than good. Kanye West says he visited former President Trump over dinner recently. The rapper and fashion designer says Trump lost his temper at the end of the night. Amazon workers around the world are striking today on Black Friday. They allege too little pay and bad working conditions. Amazon says packages are still expected to arrive on time. And NATO foreign ministers expect to meet next week. The leader of the alliance says he will push for more support for Ukraine. We open tonight with an update on the gunman in this week's deadly Walmart shooting in Chesapeake, Virginia. Authorities said today that he purchased the handgun the morning of the attack and left a, quote, death note. The note outlines grievances against people in his life. It detailed how the author felt his associates were mocking him. Walmart uses the term associates for some of its employees. According to city officials, the gunman had no criminal history and the gun was legally purchased on Tuesday. And turning to a Christian center in Colorado Springs, which was vandalized on Thursday, the perpetrators appear to blame the center for the shooting at the LGBT nightclub this past weekend. The center's sign was spray painted with the words, "Their blood is on your hands, 5 lives taken." This appears to refer to the 5 people killed by a gunman at Club Q on Saturday. The Christian nonprofit group is called Focus on the Family. On its website, the group includes articles by Christians who say they have been reformed from homosexuality. The Christian Center condemned the shooting soon after it happened, calling it senseless violence. No one has claimed responsibility for the vandalism, and police say they do not have a suspect. And President Biden on Thursday called for much stricter gun laws, saying that he plans to push for a ban on assault weapons during the lame duck Congress. One community disproportionately affected by gun violence is people of color. Earlier today, I spoke with a man serving this community, the founder of Black Guns Matter, which is an organization that advocates responsible gun ownership in Black and urban communities. Toure, welcome to our show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me so much.
Now, President Biden says that he plans to push for a ban on assault weapons during the lame duck Congress. What's your take on that?
We all know the racist roots and origins of gun control in America. That's not, this isn't like something that I'm saying because it's shock value. Literally, gun control in America was started to stop Black people from having the means to defend themselves. This is no different than the thing that he tried to do, not long ago, where he tried to push all of these gun control measures in, sending some law-abiding citizens, if this would have went through, sending them to jail for 10 years for magazine capacity and things like that. So when I hear President, Biden, the guy that has made a half of a century career of locking Black people up, saying that he wants to ban so-called assault rifles, I see it. And at the same time as he's saying this about the American people and banning our semi-automatic firearms and rifles, right? As he's saying this, they've just sent another package of $400 million to Ukraine for them to be armed. So it's okay for other, humans to be armed, but not fellow citizens in America that may have to defend themselves from tyrannical governments or even criminals in their community. So I'm not surprised. It's par for the course because Joe Biden is a racist.
You said that skills in de-escalating violence and in gun safety are much more effective than gun control. Tell me more about that.
When you teach someone the importance of a firearm as a tool, no different than, like a firearm, like a vehicle, a motor vehicle. If we say, hey, we're going to buy you a car for your 19th birthday, 18th birthday. We want you to be safe with it. We want you to be responsible, to pay attention, to follow the rules of the road. We want you to treat this and value it for the tool that it is. That person steeped in that level of education has much of a better appreciation for the tool. That person is generally not trying to mow down innocent civilians in the middle of the road as some, weirdos have. So we want to change this culture of ignorance and negligence and pretending like firearms aren't a serious part of American history. We want to shift that to a culture of safe and responsible firearms owners. There's a way to educate the people into a culture of safe and responsible firearms ownership, respect for their fellow man, and respect for individual rights and property. That trumps, no pun intended, that trumps more of the left's ideology that ignoring, pretending, and leaving it up to the hands of the state while trampling on Americans' rights is somehow better. California has some of the most restrictive firearms laws and the most disrespect for the right to keep and bear arms, but they lead the nation in mass shootings. So even though mass shootings are a small portion of all violence associated with firearms, the majority of that being suicide, even though that mass shootings make up less than 1% of all deaths, even with all of those restrictive anti-Second Amendment rules that they have in California, they have the most mass shootings. So the data's clear. It's been clear for decades at this point, as well as we have a nation, our country, that is steeped in the concept of a respect for the smallest republic, which is the individual. And that individual has inalienable rights to defend themselves with firearms. And if you don't like it, Mexico's right below us and Canada's right on top of us. Pick your choice.
All right, Maj Toure, great to speak with you. Thanks so much. Founder of Black Guns Matter. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Balenciaga has filed a $25 million lawsuit against the producers of an ad campaign that sparked heavy backlash. The campaign included legal documents from a Supreme Court decision on child porn laws. The fashion house filed the lawsuit today against production company North 6 and set designer Nicolas Desjardins. According to the court documents, Balenciaga claims that North 6 and Desjardins included the images of documents without its knowledge, which it said was, quote, malevolent or at the very least extraordinarily reckless. Another part of the campaign showed a child holding a teddy bear that's dressed in bondage outfit, but that wasn't addressed in the lawsuit. And rapper and fashion designer Ye, also known as Kanye West, says he visited former President Trump at his Mar-a-Lago resort. However, the meeting allegedly didn't go smoothly.
Kanye West, who announced his presidential run on Sunday, posted a video on Twitter talking about a visit to former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. The rapper, who legally changed his name to Ye, says he asked Trump to be his running mate for the 2024 presidential election, and that the request apparently caught Trump off guard. Ye alleges in the video that the meeting took a turn when he told Trump that he will demand that the former president hold all his policies directly to the Bible.
When Trump started basically screaming at me at the table, telling me I was going to lose, has that ever worked for anyone in history?
You're going to lose. Tell him he's going to lose.
I'm like, well, hold on, Trump. You're talking to Ye.
In the video, Ye also mentioned people imprisoned because of their involvement on January 6th.
And my question would be, why, when you had the chance, did you not free the January 6ers?
Ye says he brought Nick Fuentes to the dinner, a controversial political commentator. An Axios reporter says Trump allegedly commented on the story, saying Kanye West very much wanted to visit Mar-a-Lago. Our dinner meeting was intended to be Kanye and me only, but he arrived with a guest whom I had never met and knew nothing about.
It was the fact that I walked in with intelligence. So Trump is really impressed with Nick Fuentes.
NTD can't independently verify if the allegations made by Ye are true. We reached out to Trump's media contact, but didn't hear back before broadcast.
It's Black Friday, and more shopping means more work for retail employees. Amazon workers in the U.S. and around the globe are striking over pay and working conditions. The initiative is called Make Amazon Pay. They posted this world map on their website showing where strikes are being planned, apparently all over the globe, including the U.S., South America, Europe, and India. In total, 40 countries. Make Amazon Pay alleges that the company squeezes workers by paying them too little, squeezes communities by avoiding taxes, and squeezes the planet because the company's CO2 emissions are allegedly rising. In a statement to NTD, an Amazon spokesperson said the company is significantly investing in these areas, for example, finding ways to keep employees safe and healthy. The statement also says Amazon plans to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2040. And migrants intending to illegally cross America's southern border now have more options to enter legally. NTD's Jason Perry interviewed an immigration expert who went to Mexico to uncover this little-known process.
I had been hearing about this for months, 6 months, that they were handing immigrants over the bridge to the Americans every morning and every afternoon, but I never could confirm it.
Todd Bensman is a senior fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies and author of the soon-to-be-released book, Overrun. He recently went to Mexico to investigate. There, he spent time with migrants who told him where they were going.
Then I just followed the trail to a government shelter which does the actual handoffs and does the actual work with CBP on an online platform called CBP One. And I asked them, hey, can I stick around and watch you work? And they said, sure, no problem.
Bensman learned about an online platform called CBP One, where Mexican officials enter the immigrants' information. The Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, then uses this information to pre-approve the applicants. They'll be granted humanitarian parole while still in Mexico. And those immigrants who most likely started their journey to enter America illegally will now enter the states legally and with the right to work. So who decides which immigrants will be entered into the system?
One of the shelter managers was telling me that the immigrants are complaining that the city of Tijuana, that there are individuals in the city of Tijuana who saw opportunity here and are charging anywhere from $250 to $500 to be put on the list or get kept off the list or delayed for months and months until you pay.
Bensman explained that the DHS started this handoff program in 2021, and it has since expanded. Paths include Tijuana to San Diego, Agua Prieta to Douglas, Arizona, Juarez to El Paso, Texas, Nuevo Laredo to Laredo, Texas, and other shared port towns all the way to Matamoros and Brownsville, Texas. It appears to just be a technical difference. The DHS pre-approves the immigrants while they are in Mexico, instead of processing them in the U.S. This means that those immigrants won't be counted in the record-breaking statistics of illegal immigration. We reached out to the DHS for comment, and we're still waiting for a response. Jason Perry, NTD News.
It's been 5 months since the overturning of Roe v. Wade. What are some of the effects so far? NTD spoke with a pro-life researcher about a report on post-Roe abortion numbers.
Abortions nationwide declined by around 10,000 in the first 2 months after Roe v. Wade was overturned. That's according to a project called We Count by the Society of Family Planning. The project collected data from abortion clinics, hospitals, and more. They found that in the states with bans and restrictions, abortions declined by 22,000. They went up by around 12,000 in states where abortion remained legal, leading to an overall decline of 10,000 abortions. NTD can't independently verify those numbers. Pro-abortion activists say the trend is alarming and that women are being put at risk. But a pro-life researcher says the numbers are a positive sign.
This is very encouraging because it shows that pro-life state laws are saving lives and that we are having an impact after the Dobbs decision.
Tessa Longbonds is a senior research associate with the Charlotte Lozier Institute. She said that access to abortions doesn't actually empower women, citing studies published in the National Library of Medicine, which found that abortions can be harmful to physical and mental health.
Having multiple abortions can put women at risk of problems in future pregnancies like low birth weight and premature birth, poor mental health outcomes, even an increased risk of premature death. And so abortion is not empowering women or helping them to take control of their lives. In fact, it's just the opposite.
She added that based on research conducted by her team, women who get one abortion often get more abortions after that, putting them at even higher risk of experiencing adverse effects. Critics of the Supreme Court's ruling say life is now harder for pregnant women, but Longbond says the pro-life movement is helping to give women the resources they need.
The pro-life movement has rallied around women and families for over 50 years with nearly 3,000 pregnancy centers nationwide. States like Texas, with their $100 million Alternatives to Abortion program, trying to give women and families the support that they really need.
Reporting by Arian Pastar, NTD News.
And the next chapter in the Twitter story. Elon Musk says he will provide general amnesty to suspended accounts on Twitter starting next week. Yesterday's statement followed a poll asking whether to do so for users who had not broken the law or engaged in egregious spam. NTD's Daniel Monahan has more.
The voice of the people is the voice of God, is what Musk tweeted out in Latin. This after poll participants voted over 72% in favor of bringing back users who had been suspended by the platform.
A service that is as broadly inclusive as possible, where ideally most of America is on it and talking.
Last week, Musk reinstated some previously suspended accounts, including former U.S. President Donald Trump, satirical website Babylon Bee, and comedian Kathy Griffin. He discussed in May how he sees the use of Twitter.
Sharing ideas and content and creative things, whether they're written or video or podcasts.
On October 28th, Musk tweeted that Twitter would form a content moderation council with widely diverse viewpoints. He wrote that no major content decisions or account reinstatements would happen before that council convenes. On November 23rd, Musk replied to a user reminding him of that post. He wrote that a large coalition of political social activist groups had agreed not to try to kill Twitter by starving it of advertising revenue if he agreed to that condition. He added that they broke the deal. Twitter installs have grown by 21% since Musk's takeover, and Musk says that the platform's active users have surged to record highs. Meanwhile, MIT Technology Review stated that over 1 million users left Twitter during that same period. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
NATO is promising more support for Ukraine. The head of the alliance says they're determined to help Ukraine defend itself and transform its military.
NATO's Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg on Friday spoke to reporters about the war in Ukraine. He noted that NATO has been delivering fuel, generators, medical supplies, winter equipment, and drone jamming devices to Ukraine, but that more will be needed as winter closes in.
So NATO will continue to stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes. We will not back down. Allies are providing unprecedented military support, and I expect foreign ministers will also agree to step up non-lethal support.
Next week, foreign ministers of NATO members plan to meet in the capital of Romania. Ukraine's foreign minister will also join. Stoltenberg said he will call for more support for Ukraine at the meeting.
Over the longer term, we will help Ukraine transition from Soviet-era equipment to modern NATO standards, doctrine and training.
As Russian attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure continue, many in the country are struggling. Ukraine recently suffered the most devastating Russian airstrike on its energy grid so far. President Zelensky gave an update on Thursday.
Restoration work continues today throughout the whole day. We are gradually restoring electricity, heat, water supply, and communication. As of this evening, there are still problems with water in 15 regions.
The company overseeing Ukraine's national power grid said 50% of demand was not being met as of 7 p.m. local time Thursday. In the capital, Kyiv, which is home to 3 million people, 60% of residents were without power, with temperatures well below freezing. Reporting by Allison Lee, NTD News.
If you have any news tips or feedback for our show, you can email us at eveningnews@ntd.com. And coming up, in World Cup play, the U.S. was in action this afternoon against England, looking to punch their tickets to the next round. That and more after this short break.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rests on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere My Pillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have My Pillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing My Pillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
And now over to sports news. Here's NTD's Dave Martin with today's top stories.
Thank you, Steph. FIFA has ruled that Crusader costumes worn by England fans at the World Cup are offensive. The fans typically dress as St. George, including a chainmail-looking helmet, as well as crosses and even plastic swords. Said FIFA to CNN, quote, Crusader costumes in the Arab or Middle East context can be offensive to Muslims. That is why anti-discrimination colleagues asked fans to wear things inside out or change dress. During the Crusades, Christians sought to capture Jerusalem and the surrounding areas under Islamic rule during the 11th to 13th centuries. Now, this isn't the only time that clothing has become an issue in Qatar. American journalist Grant Wall reported that he was detained for 25 minutes after trying to enter the U.S. versus Wales game while wearing a shirt with a rainbow on it. Wall later followed that up by telling CNN how he had been given assurances that now he would be able to wear his rainbow shirt into the matches. And moving to golf news, Tiger Woods will be back to play some competitive rounds very soon. The 46-year-old, who hasn't played since missing the cut at the British Open back in July, is set to return with the Hero Challenge next week. He's also scheduled in a made-for-TV exhibition with Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, and Jordan Spieth on December 10. And then finally the PNC Championship, which is a nationally televised father-son event scheduled for December 17 and 18. And for your sports viewing schedule tonight, 14 NBA games are on the docket, including the defending champion Golden State Warriors taking on the Utah Jazz. And for you hockey fans, 8 NHL games are planned for tonight, including a Battle of Pennsylvania as the Flyers host the Penguins. And that's a wrap for sports. Back to you, Steph.
Thanks, Dave. And an update from the World Cup. The U.S. and England played to a scoreless draw this afternoon. The result leaves the young U.S. squad needing a victory against Iran to move to the knockout stages. That game is scheduled for November 29th. And finally, some holiday joy from the nation's capital. Artists put their crafts to the test, building farmhouses and DC monuments out of plant parts. NTD's Melina Wisecup brings us a closer look.
It's back. The U.S. Botanical Gardens has opened their holiday display with all of the pieces intricately made. Miniature trains making loops around miniature tracks through different landscapes, unique to each region in the world.
Just amazing, because the last time we were here it was a different sculpture in this garden, and just to see it transformed and all the uniqueness of the structures with all the twigs and branches and everything homemade, it looks impressive.
From the olive grove in Spain to orange tree farms in Florida. And if you look close enough, you'll notice the tiny details, a mini handcrafted depiction of reality.
It's like a little magical fairy world, but with trains. We came here, I want to say like 10 to 15 times last year because we could just pop over, see the trains, run around outside.
Taking in the outdoor display is a holiday treasure in itself, but some say the experience is even more enjoyable with the sound of happy children abound.
Through the building and then seeing this outdoor space, then obviously watching the kids enjoy it and see the trains move around, it's just really lovely.
And the journey doesn't stop here. Take a step inside the gardens to find find must-sees of the nation's capital replicated. The Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the U.S. Capitol to the White House, and back to the National Thomas Jefferson Memorial and many other mini monuments.
What I like about this time of year, especially at the Botanic Garden, is that it allows us to show all of the different ways that plants are in our everyday life. The models are made out of plants, and so that's inspiring to people who love art and think about how can I have plants around me in a beautiful way. But the plants in the garden are also plants that we eat. And so as people gather for the holidays and you're sitting down to a lovely feast with your family, think about plants as the foundation for that feast.
In front of each piece, a card tells you exactly which plants went into creating the intricate display. For example, the walls of the African American History Museum are crafted from walnuts.
So that takes a lot of skill. I'm very impressed with the folks that do that, and you can just see the time and the effort and the passion that they put into it for all of us to share. And also pretty impressive that the Smithsonian gives us the opportunity for free. But overall, the Smithsonian has done an amazing job here at the Botanical. It's really intriguing to see go from the different environments, especially to the humid environment with the tropical, coming out here and just seeing how they've set up everything. So quite the experience here.
Visitors tell us the tropical environment in the gardens offers a warm welcome from the chilly winter weather. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Melina Weiskup, NTD News.
Incredible. Well, that's all for today's news. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Stephanie Cox. Good night.
Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Did you know YouTube only keeps selective videos on its platform? So if you want to make sure you get the full picture, just subscribe to our newsletter. Go to newsletter.ntd.com and sign up. It's free.